Good has triumphed over evil. The Packers have defeated the purple incarnation of Satan. And Toyotathon has begun. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Podcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Take that, Satan, Grossi. And today we are going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers defense dominating the Minnesota Vikings with a score of 23-6.
Take that, you winged spawn of Satan!
And before we dive too much into this game, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to you all as we are getting closer and closer to 1 million subscribers. Of course, there are never sponsors on these videos. Everything is completely and totally free. It is also free to subscribe, so feel free to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel as we get closer and closer to 1 million. There are very few things that I think even the most diehard Packers fans could complain about after seeing today's game. You can look at some of the conservative play calling, like for example, Matt LaFleur ran it out of the shotgun on 3rd and 1 again, and shocker, we did not get the first down. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty good with how things went today. Talking about the Green Bay Packers defense, who really was the star of the show. You head into this game, and JJ McCarthy has not been playing well these past few weeks. However, JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings were able to knock off the Detroit Lions, and it's a divisional game, and we are in the season where literally anything can happen from week to week. And so because of that, there are no gimmies. And considering the Packers, this is only their second divisional game of the year, there was still a little bit of stress heading into this week's game, especially after it was a close one against the Giants last week. And well, it was a really close game in the first half, and then the Packers started to run away with it. Let's take a look at what happened on offense. Jordan Love, 14 for 21, 139 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked only one time. And so the offensive line actually did a really nice job today in pass protection and also creating some running lanes as Emmanuel Wilson, 28 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a great day on the ground. Josh Jacobs nor Matthew Golden were in on this game. It is possible that we see the return of not only Matthew Golden, Josh Jacobs, but also Jaden Reed this upcoming Thursday, as the Packers have to turn around very quickly and go up against the Lions on the road on Thanksgiving, and that will be one hell of a game. And we mentioned the conservative play calling before. I'm not really hating it a whole lot, because by the time we got into the fourth quarter, the Packers had this game well in hand, and so while you would like to see them absolutely stomp out the Vikings, they didn't allow a single touchdown and were able to win this game with a comfortable margin. And so because of that, yeah, we'll just wait until Thursday, and hopefully the offense can show up and be a little bit more dynamic as they take on the Lions. Christian Watson was our leading receiver, 5 catches for 49 yards. Talking about the special teams, it is nothing but praise for the special teams, which I feel like we haven't done that in forever. McManus got the start today, was a perfect 3 for 3 on field goals. Dan Whelan, who has been a monster of a punter all freaking season, he had a great game, though I will give a whole lot of credit to Wright, the Vikings punter. He had a phenomenal day as well. Whelan, 4 punts for 190 yards, had a long of 63 yards, did an excellent job. And on top of that, one of his punts were so good that it bounced back and it hit a Vikings returner, and the Packers were able to fall on top of it and get the ball inside the 10-yard line of the Vikings, and ultimately you had an Emmanuel Wilson touchdown. And so not only was the special teams perfect with field goals, with punting, but on top of that, they even got a turnover. Who knows? Toyotathon can really bring us all together. But really the story of today is this Packers defense, because good God, did they play lights out today. They allowed a field goal on their very first drive and another field goal before halftime, and that was it. They were putting JJ McCarthy through the ringer in that second half. 5 sacks, 2 by Micah Parsons. Isaiah McDuffie had one hell of a game. He had a great open field tackle against TJ Hawkinson in the first half. On top of that, he had half a sack and also had an interception interception. So a great job by McDuffie as Quay Walker was out for this game. Evan Williams had his second interception in 2 weeks. He had the game-winning interception against the Giants at the very end of that game last week and had another interception in which they were mocking the skull chant in the end zone as J.J. McCarthy threw 2 interceptions besides getting sacked 5 times today. Devontae Wyatt also had 2 sacks as well. And on top of that, he also is credited with injuring Keyshawn Nixon as Nixon was running to the sideline trying to make a play. He ran into Devontae Wyatt, who did not move, so it was like running into a wall. And so Nixon was out for the rest of the game. Hopefully he is okay. But yeah, Devontae Wyatt, you do not want to get tackled by that man. And really, this was just a great game because the Vikings, yeah, they really struggled in that second half. J.J. McCarthy went 12 for 19 in the game for 87 yards, 2 interceptions. Like I said, was sacked 5 times. Jordan Mason was their leading rusher, 8 for 42 yards. Aaron Jones, 9 carries for 41 yards. Justin Jefferson, how many times has he destroyed the Packers secondary? Was held to 4 catches for 48 yards. The Packers defense held the Vikings to just 10 first downs, 145 total yards. With less than 10 minutes in the game, the Vikings had negative 22 yards in the second half. They wound up finishing that second half with 4 total yards. So yeah, I know J.J. McCarthy is really struggling and that offense hasn't looked pretty good, but the Packers defense deserves a ton of credit. And also talking about discipline, the Packers only had 2 penalties today, which I'm pretty sure is a season low. So that was a nice reprieve. And ultimately, now the Packers got to go play the Detroit Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving. The Lions just beat the Giants in overtime as they were trailing that entire game until overtime because shout out Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a phenomenal player. And so the Packers, they are going to have their hands full trying to stop Jahmyr Gibbs just like they did in week 1. And unfortunately, the Chicago Bears also won against the Aaron Rodgers-less Steelers today. And so that means that they remain number 1 in the division. And this is what we've been talking about, right? You want the Packers to have dominant wins. They had one today. And while you could definitely nitpick and go, man, I wish the offense was a little bit more aggressive. I wish they put up a few more points. This game really never got out of hand once it hit the second half. And because of that, I got to give the Packers a ton of credit. As we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks with the Packers' inconsistencies, we're about to find out how good the Packers actually are. Not only because of the short week they have going up against Detroit on Thursday, but 2 weeks from today, they'll be playing the Bears for the very first time. And then they're going to have to play the Bears again and the Vikings again. And so with only 6 games remaining in the regular season, 4 of them are against the division. They also got to play the Broncos in Denver, which is going to be a tough game. And they also got to play the Ravens. And so the Packers, they took care of business today. Incredibly happy with how the defense played. And if the Packers are able to knock off the Lions on Thanksgiving and then get a little bit of a break when they could be getting guys like Josh Jacobs, like Matthew Golden, and most importantly, Jaden Reed back from injury, oh boy, this offense could take yet another step. They got it done today. They looked phenomenal. And yeah, it's always nice to see Malik Willis in the game when the game is no longer mattering. And the Packers, yeah, Toyotathon has truly begun. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about this win over the Minnesota Vikings? And again, the Packers have only played 2 divisional games this season. They already have a better record against the NFC North than they did last year, as they only won 1 game against the Chicago Bears, and that was off a blocked field goal. So, progress. Let me know. You know, I saw you at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. I'll see you on Thanksgiving. And as always, go Pack Go.